In 1769, the King of England granted a charter to Dartmouth College. This document spelled out the purpose of the school, set up the structure to govern it, and gave land to the college. The charter vested control of the college in a self-perpetuating board of trustees, which eventually removed John Wheelock as college president in 1815. In 1816, the state legislature of New Hampshire passed laws that revised the charter and established a board of overseers to replace the trustees. The existing trustees filed suit and claimed that the legislature violated the Constitution. They sued William H. Woodward, a college secretary and ally of Wheelock, the former president.
The trustees lost in the state courts, so Daniel Webster, a Dartmouth graduate and the most famous lawyer of his time, represented the trustees before the U.S. Supreme Court. The trustees argued that Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution prevented a state from weakening a contract. Daniel Webster reportedly gave a beautiful speech about Dartmouth College that was so moving that it helped convince Chief Justice John Marshall.
On February 2, 1819, by a 5-1 margin, the court agreed with Dartmouth. They struck down the law so Dartmouth could remain a private college and take back its buildings, seal, and charter. The Supreme Court held that Section 10, Article 1 of the Federal Constitution, prohibits states from altering the obligations of a contract, and in this case, a charter. Chief Justice Marshall wrote the majority opinion, and that the charter was, in essence, a contract between the king and trustees. Even though we were no longer a royal colony at the time, the contract was still valid because the Constitution says that a state cannot pass laws to impair or weaken a contract. Marshall's opinion emphasized that the term contract referred to transactions involving individual property rights, not to the political relations between governments and its citizens. The opinion reaffirmed Marshall's belief in the sanctity of the contract as necessary to the functioning of a republic.
This case was a big deal. It was about whether or not Dartmouth would remain a private school or become a state school. Essentially, what it was about is it exactly protected by the Constitution's contract. Clause under the Constitution, can a state legislator change the charter of a college? The decision by the Supreme Court greatly encouraged commerce. More merchants and businesses were assured that governments could not dissolve any contract it found disadvantageous. It led to businesses being more secure and helped them attract investors, employ workers, and add to the national prosperity. This case overall was a stepping stone for capitalism. It helped businesses grow and prosper and to give corporations more freedom. It protected business charters from a great deal of government regulation. Some say that this was one of the most important Supreme Court rulings, as it strengthened the contract clause and limited the power of the states to interfere with private charters.